Guys, what's up? The Shirt Talk and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is about a billion times over event, and well, let's just talk about everything about this event because there's a lot of things. I didn't talk about the update because I really wanted to do a video about the event itself, and we have to talk about the characters, the weapons, and the stages. Guys, there's a lot of stages on this event, and there's a very special stage here. That is almost impossible for most people, but I still don't know if it's possible if you really think about it, because, well, let me get this straight. I tried to defeat the Covenant of this same boss, and I got very close to defeating it, but it still was enough because I don't have 2 damage dealers orbit, and it's what this quest requires. And also, after the second revive, this boss gets stronger to characters that use his words, and my best damage dealer is Hakure. I don't have any other damage dealer besides Hakure. Even my Leon is word type, so it's very hard to do enough damage and defeat this boss, at least for me. Well, this boss here seems a lot stronger, but it also is a boss that has this extension mechanic, and as you remember, extension is used to debuff the boss and grant buffs to our characters. It even makes Silver-Haired Bride, Platina, and Groom Lucian even stronger when dealing with these bosses. And then if you really think about wanting to defeat them, you will have to spend a lot of this currency here, this rings, pinky ring, to get all the buffs and debuffs working. You can increase your fire resistance, your lightning resistance, lower the status of the bosses, and everything else. It's very needed, especially the increasing the resistance because of the boss. So, and also, let's just go straight to the quests. As you can see, there's the first quest here, and you can test the new characters, Silver-Haired Bride and Groom Lucian was the name they choose for these characters. On this test here, you can use their true weapons. They're using different weapons. I don't know why. I don't understand why. And even Lucian is using the wrong weapon. So, but at least you can see their animations, think if you want to use them or not. Well, the thing is, let's just go straight to the Divine Weapon before we talk about the remaining stuff, because these characters are way out of place and they are displaced on the timeline on events of the Japanese version. This is probably because they did a Bride event not so long ago and they wanted to do this just because it's a little of a continuation to that event, but it's still on a different timeline, I think. So they did this before with Kokuyo and Eventide Hakuri to just continue the timeline of events. But these events were not released just as soon as each other. So these characters being displaced means that they are stronger than they should have been for our era. Silver-Haired Bride is a little special because, well, let's just click on her to understand it better. When you click on the tail, you will see that her status are very high. It's just like Eventide Hakure when she was released. And she has more mega attack than physical attack. She's from the class Valkyrie. She also has character assist, if I remember correctly. If I'm not, just please correct me here on the comments. And defense and mag def is not so high because she is an archer, and a very different archer, because you see me every time complaining about archers being characters that can't just focus on a single status, but look at her. She only uses mag attacks. All of her attacks are magical, she has quite a lot of hits, and all of her attacks are juggler attacks. She will send the enemy flying. So she's a very special character to have 6 attacks and make use of this type of stuff. And her attacks are a little not close enough to the character, so she is not so easy to miss. Well, I still don't really like this character because, well, I don't really like to use Bride characters on a game. But, well, removing this part of the character, she's Platina, a different version of Platina as well. So a lot of people will like to summon her. She's from the Ice element, but actually, when you see her, the character itself doesn't have an element, but the Purify attack has. It's ice, so you really need to just focus on doing ice attack and just use an ice bow. You have an ice bow from this event, you also have a very good ice bow from Halloween Outver event, so you have to decide. And looking at her passives, you see the first one increases physical and mega attack and also ice damage, just what she wants. And then the second one increases attack count by 1, and you increase ice damage when the start of a turn. All turns, guys. So she gets 7 attacks when you raise it up to 6. She will always be getting 1 more and dealing more damage with ice damage. You have to focus her on ice damage. You need a nice bow. And anyway, so the last one will increase all the status of all ice, just like the same thing as Wildfred. Warfred also likes to increase the status of all allies in his two versions. One has more chances by doing all turns, the other one is on specific turns, but she increases the stats of all allies on all turns and also resistance to status ailments. So this is very, very important, and it's just an improvement on Yume. Yume only increases defensive status. She increases defensive, offensive, and also resistance to status elements. This is very impressive for this type of stuff. And she also sacrifices one level of Purification Gouge to activate, and our allies will recover HP. But this is not the same as the Ethereal Queen version, because the Ethereal Queen version can only be used once. It's way better than this one, but this one is just not strong, but can be useful in some situations. And she also gets AS Assist Ice that increases her Ice action skill damage by 10%. So you can just simply switch this one by an ES burst that it's double the values. But the thing here is that she's not exactly a nuker. She is a support unit with very nice damage, with ice damage and dealing normal attack damage. She doesn't have any focus on doing action skill damage, just with her enchanted skill that you will have to change to burst if you want to do even more damage. So that's her, and then we will have to give a look on Grun Lucian. And Grun Lucian, you can already see that he's a third generation character as well. You have very similar status when compared to Eventide Hakuri. He is on same level of power, but not the same as useful as Eventide Hakuri. It's very close to her power because, well, there's something different here. You see that he's from the fire element, so he can even compete sometimes when you're trying to defeat fire weak elements, and you still have to use a fire elemental weapon because only one of his attacks are from the fire, and his purified attacks from fire as well. And looking on his passives, he greatly increases attack and damage dealt by fire attacks. Okay, increases all status when in lower enemy guard hate when Purification Gouge is 1 or higher, same as most gods and Valkyries. And he also increases the guard hate of all allies and increases the accuracy hate of experienced crystals. Here is when he falls flat because, well, guard hate is important for long battles, especially when you're using claws or in the future you'll be using another version of Arngrim or even this Arngrim. But the thing is, he won't have enough nuke power to be consistent with damage. It's trying to be a little supportive as well, just like Platina. And this is why it's something that kind of falls flat, because we're playing roles here. Most characters need to be a specific role or else they will fall flat. We have to, if he was able to heal, okay, he will be able to do average damage or very close to top characters damage, but still doing some support. But he won't be able to top Eventide. He's very close. It's not. He can't beat Eventide Hakuri, but he, just so you understand, he does more damage than Arbiter Hurst when doing fire damage. Okay, but Arbiter Hurst can still do damage with action skill. She still can do damage with purify attacks. So she's a master of everything. And Lucian tries to do too much things, but he's a master of none. And while looking at his limited skill, he sacrifices one level of Purification Gouge to increase his damage dealt. It's the same thing as Kukuyo, but it's still not. It doesn't have direction. You can see it's a general damage. And the incant skill increases mind by 400. It's terrible. It's one of the worst incant skill. You have to exchange this for an AS burst fire. But then, even then, he won't be the best nuker on your squad. Eventide Hakuri still beats in fire weakness events. So, okay, we talk about the characters, now we have to talk about the weapons. When you click here on the Divine Weapon traits, you will see these weapons, and they are quite good, honestly, but just hard to suppress. We are getting to the wrong information. Divine Weapon traits should send us to the page where it shows the weapons. It's not showing. Let me just get to the notice. Notice will show us the... I don't know why they give the wrong link here. Okay, let's just click on notice. A billion times step up divine weapon. Okay, here we can see the information. You can see that there's two parts in this event, and half of the things, the characters work better on half of it, and the weapons work better on the other half by giving more drops. Okay, and the weapon, let's see, it's extreme 3 times, and the passive will mitigate a little of fire and ice by 5%. This is needed for future content where mitigation becomes a little more important, but not on nukers, not on damage dealers, not on mixed characters. This is the best thing. But you can use these weapons as sub-weapons to increase something, but it won't increase enough that you want. So this is the bad part. And you see this is an ice element bow with the increased damage of normal ice attacks by 10%. This is good. Even if you're done using it with Platina, you can still use it with Lynette F. The winter version of Lynette F then will probably appear before the year ends, but she will probably come along with another ice bow. But this one is not a bad, it's very good, it's one of the best weapons we have in the, so far because of this increase in normal attack damage. Okay, we talk about the characters, and now we will have to talk about the event itself. Guys, farming the 100k may be a little too time consuming because the bosses are very hard, and especially if you're trying to defeat these optional bosses. You see here, as you see, there is a clear. I didn't do the optional boss because there's actually two optional bosses. One is very easy, even easier than the central boss, and the other one is the one that we need extension. So 3 bosses are considered special bosses on this event. They are of red enemy with a very strong aura, and you have to face it only after you just use it all your extension, or unless you were strong enough to defeat it. I didn't try yet because I will probably just farm this event just so much that it will just have enough currency to do all extension by itself. So don't farm this. I don't recommend most people to farm it. I'm farming 15,000. Now you only need to clear this 100k once. And to clear this, you have to get a very strong friend with a very high number of attacks, because the focus here is at normal attacks. The bosses are resistant to action skill damage, but not resistant to purify attacks. You can still do purify attacks and action skill damage to do more damage. They are only resistant to action skill damage, and this kind of makes them a little hard to just nuking them down, at least as easily as we always do. Okay, so this is it, guys. Let's just give a look on the exchange booth. Like I said, this event is awesome with rewards, but also very grinding, because there's just so many good stuff to get that you probably spend a lot of time farming. You have an attachment here, you have this follow shield that you need to get to use on the new system, the seal stone system, that it uses this, and you will have to get this every single time it appears on your events because it's very scarce, it's very rare. Ski guidance, Yggdrasil branches, and Yggdrasil branches costing very high, but you can get 5. There's probably all the items that are that you need here. All the items that appears in a lot of events, and they appearing all together on the same event all at once. And this is why this farming here will be insane, guys. I'm using blue stacks because there's almost impossible to play this on phone. The battery will drain out and be nuts. But just focus on always on your branches, the Yggdrasil branches, the silver bangles, the awakening embers, and the bugs are the most important thing. I think you should all skip the free skill system on this event, because otherwise you just get nuts. Crazy stuff here, guys. Well, this is it, and I don't think there's more thing to tell. The items are always the same. Always get the orbs, because sometimes you don't think it's worth right now, but maybe some situation and some colors view match sometime that you need the future with a specific character. So well, this is it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and we see each other on the next video. Bye.